Hi, this is Jorn, and you're geeking out to Gear Gods.
First, let's talk about like just the tour. Like, how's the tour been?
Tour's been great. It's been actually overwhelming. It's been people are totally excited, and normally you would expect that countries like Germany would be a bit more like reserved. But they're totally crazy. No. I mean, some shows we felt almost like we were in like South America or something, and
wow.
we thought, is this really Europe? You know?
Wow.
and so it's a bit like, you know, pinch my arm.
Yeah.
And when you did many tours in the past and you played shows, you're just used to certain countries acting people from certain countries acting in a certain way, and you have some kind of reference. But everything with this tour has just been unexpected.
Huh.
Like
That's good.
Every day
right?
when we came to a new city or a new country, and it's like totally, you know, to the roof.
Yeah.
And it's like lifting the roof, and and the thing is, the funny thing is that you realize that you play a type of music that, at least in my opinion, because where I come from is you know, it's like more old school. Because I'm you know, a bit older than some of the people, and you know, like Tobias is like well, it's not that young, but he's young. You know, he's in his 30s and stuff. And I'm a bit older, so the thing is, you just notice that this is something special, and the songs are not really the style that I would imagine would be that popular.
Really?
You know what I mean? I mean, power metal might be popular, you know, in itself, but I would not expect that it would go that far. You know what I mean? That we would sell out. You know, I mean, we sold out venues now with 4,000 people. You know, all over, and we 3,000-4,000 people around Europe. Some shows were a bit smaller, but most of the shows were pretty big and selling out.
Wow.
So, and I never expected that to happen. I don't think anybody thought it would be happening.
Wow.
And also, I did a couple of tours with this project before. Which was also pretty good, but not anything close to what's happening now. And if I look at the albums and the quality of everything, you know, I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of the albums, because all the albums are good
I
in
like
that
all,
style, and they belong to each other in a way. I mean, it's nothing like, oh, this album is totally different from the rest or something.
So what do you think happened? Like, what?
It must be something that has happened with the new generation growing up, I think. Or maybe a couple of generations. One generation that started to come like a few years ago after the first few records, and then there's a new one coming, and now I think it's like crossing over to 1-2 more generations that brought more people to the shows, really, because you've been around for a while. And it's in a way it's a natural development, but it's also something you shouldn't take for granted. You know, because you can think that it's natural, but not really. When you look at all the people coming to the show, so it has to do something with the songs and the constellation of people. You know, everybody is famous or well known in various styles. I mean, Eric Martin from Mr. Big. You know, I mean, it was such a huge success in the 80s and 90s, or I guess it was maybe more the 90s.
More 90s,
yeah. But I mean, his career go way back to the 80s, so it's kind of like, you know, that's and the style is totally different. More melodic, American, almost AOR. But you know, rock, and then you have Michael Kiske. From Halloween, which is the typical German power metal, which is, I mean, in many ways, I think Halloween was the inventors of power metal.
I would say so.
That's what I mean. So, and then you have that aspect of it, and you have Ronnie Atkins from Denmark, you know, in Pretty Maids. which they did pretty well as well, you know, and all these singers together. I think makes a difference. Bob Catley has been doing, except he's not here now for this show, but because he had to do a Magnum tour.
Oh, right, yeah.
Magnum is his band.
Yeah.
But he did the European tour. You know, in his career all the way back from the 80s also.
Yeah, he's
been
doing it for a while.
Some of those legendary records like Storyteller's Night, which was like big selling, you know, MTV and all that stuff. So I think all these people together also, in combination with the right style of music at the right time, you know, so just made things happen for this project, you know. And it's like Toby said, oh, now if I have to go back to my other band now, Ed Guy, it's like, oh, I have to go down and play smaller venues again, you know, because
Ed Guy's pretty popular. I mean,
you know what I mean. It's like, it's like the same as we all said, you know. Oh, we love to play with our own bands. Yeah. But it's just, you know, when you get this kind of feedback in Europe now, and you know, also Russia, Japan, it's so huge, selling so many tickets, and getting that feedback from people. It's so almost like okay, so now we go back to our it's Monday soon. Soon it's Monday and we go back to work, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's a bit you know, it's great, but at the same time it's a bit like you know, sad that you do this and you wait, if you have to wait another like 3 years to do something similar, because you can't do this all the time. I mean,
it seems hard to put all together.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a big investment and it's a lot of work, so you can't do this all year, so and it's also difficult because everybody's committed to other things. So
yeah, I remember like
it's a unique thing, you know. It has to stay that way, sort of. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I remember that's not the first time, but like I think last time Avantasia played a show was maybe at the Falcon. And at the end is when Avantasia headlined, and at the end Toby was like, "Oh, we don't know if we're going to continue touring anymore." And I was like, "No, what?" Well, so maybe he won't say that at the end of this tour, because I from what I'm told, he at the end of every tour he's like, "I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this again." So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, you know, he has a great drive, Tobias, you know, and that's also one of the reasons why all of us do this, you know, because he's so enthusiastic, and you know, he's good at planning things, and you know, if something doesn't happen, he wants to change it to make it happen, you know. So he's a very determined and very, but still very positive person, and I think that's what we all like, you know, when he says you know, if he says, "Please, Jorn, can we look at you know, I'm contacting you early now because I know you're gonna be busy if I wait for 2 more months before asking you this," you know. He's very on top of the case with everything. Also, when he asks us to join, he wants things to happen, he wants us to join, and he wants to do everything possible to make it happen. And that's why it also became, well, partly the reason why it's become so successful. So yeah, no, I mean, he all credit to him for that, because you know, in this business there's so many people who want to get to the mill, you know. Yeah. You know, first. For sure. So it's especially these days where we kind of like flooded with bands. So yeah.
What do you do to prepare for a show?
Oh, well, I don't do really much. You know, I well, get enough sleep the day before, and it's important. And I don't rush, you know. It's like if you get prepared. I don't sing a lot.
Really? Because you're on like everyone's albums. You're like on every.
Well,
like on
I
every
do when
record.
I work with the records, or if I join a tour. Of course, I sing a lot, but I don't prepare before the show in a special way. Some people in this band do, like warm up with a certain whatever planned thing to do, but I don't. So it's individual. The same with I remember Bob Catley.
No.
Me and him, we were the same. So we were always like walking around with a glass of red wine or something, and saying, it's like, and then but I might test my voice a bit, like for 5 minutes, just singing and trying out certain passages that I know I might struggle with, or if my voice is not top notch,
because every day is different.
Then everything's different. So if I have problems one day and it's more of a struggle to hit the notes, then I have to find out before the show starts. But it takes only like 5 minutes to sing a bit, and just but I usually do that just before I'm on stage, just to and it's enough to do that, because then I sing a few minutes on those spots, just to know that this is how I have to do it, and just to get my voice used to. That's the kind of
cool
area in the song, So hey, a couple of guys passing by.
Guys passing by.
Two guitar players, actually, both of them, Sasha and.
Was that Sasha Path?
Sasha Path and Oliver Hartman.
Oh, nice! I totally did not see their faces when they passed by, but those guys are awesome. I like those guys.
The pairing just walked by. They're great players. They are, and also this thing with German musicians. I mean, I'm from Norway, so I'm kind of a bit outside, even though we are pretty similar. I mean, if you look at the culture and so many things that are the same, but this kind of mentality that you have to make a plan and have a strategy for everything, and also be in advance with everything you do, prepare,
of course,
and that's they're very focused people, and I guess also that's why it sounds good, and
does sound good.
There's not many mistakes. They don't play many mistakes and stuff. It's all well rehearsed, and so, and that's a great experience, because there are enough bands with thirsty guitarist, or and it's like, today he's totally wreck, and the next day he plays like God, because you just you just everything was just happening in the right. The constellations were
aligned in some way.
The stars were aligned, and then but I think that's that's also like a fading thing in the music business, because of the competition. It's been very tough, and I think you can't afford to run around like a diva anymore to be a rock star in the same sense. You have to deliver the goods, and you have to be a worker. So I think it's more important to be a working class hero with a good drive, and know your time for partying and leading an unstructured life. So I think people are more into preparing and being focused now than before. 70s and 80s, it was like that was crazy.
Just did it.
Yeah, of course, and then the problem is that you have all these magic moments where people were on drugs or drinking too much, and then they played great and they had some kind of magic going on. But I think that was not every day.
No, I doubt it. There's no way.
You captured certain moments when this was, again the stars were aligned. And of course, you have to know this.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was a time when I was a teenager when you thought that you had to take drugs to be good, you know.
Wow.
It was actually like this in the 70s and parts of the 80s. Many people thought that musicians,
there's something you're missing if you don't take drugs. Or something like
you have to control the intake of drugs, and then you have to write and to be a great composer.
Wow.
Many people actually thought like this. I remember it from school, and when we talked about, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of like a strange thing, but it was also a time where we weren't enlightened in the same way like today.
Yeah.
So, there we have Sasha again.
Hey.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me get down. Did you ever take any like vocal lessons, or are you self-taught, or?
I'm basically self-taught. My first hero was Elvis Presley.
No, it's a good first hero to have.
Well, which is many other people's hero as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the king to me still.
He's the king.
He's the king, and it's just his way of doing it was just regardless of what happened.
Yeah.
In his career, it's just he had everything there. It's not just about having a mental thing. It's about the tone of the voice. It's just something you have.
Yeah.
You're born with it.
Yeah.
And then
sometimes it's just
It's just I mean, it's like he couldn't do anything wrong really, except he should have been careful with his health in the end.
Yeah.
But besides that, he could he could be whatever. He could be fat. He could be skinny. He could be anything, and he would still come out great. In a way, you would just overlook all those things when he came on stage. Forgetting the lyrics and then mumbling about things.
Yeah.
It was just charming, and it was just great, and he was just able to capture all these things in a way and make it magical. And that's unique, I think. He had all these things that I've never seen since in any entertainer.
I don't think. I can't think of any either.
No, because it's obvious that it was not planned, and it was a time where you couldn't do like this. I mean, how many did overdubs and how many did repairs back then? When you had like for example, via satellite, what's it called? Aloha from Hawaii, that kind of live. Concert. That was like the first satellite concert that was sent to fit to fit the time zones or something. And everybody could see it, and so it was like a technological breakthrough, and they made a big thing out of it back then. Today it's like satellite, via satellite.
Satellite.
Okay, fine.
We got satellites.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But that was done, and I have a DVD back home, and they recorded all the shows because he did several shows. Before there was like one show that was the main show, but he actually did I think it was 3. One like rehearsal show, and then there was one show to raise money for I'm not sure what it was, if it was for cancer or if it was for something else, but it was to raise money for a good cause. And that was done, but all concerts are great. So it's not like like the main concert is the one that's really good, because they were all good, and it's just slightly different talking, slightly different, And some songs came out a bit better than others, but in general you would find the good moments in every. And so you would think that they should have put together the best moments from all 3, and then you have but you don't need to when you're Elvis Presley.
Yeah, of course. So one of the things you're known for, at least as far as I'm aware, is like when you sing, you have like a nice like powerful grit that you add in your voice, and you're able to have it like across most of your range, low to high. Like how did you practice doing that? Like how do you?
It's just there, I guess.
It's just there.
Yeah, I mean, it got more gritty with the years, and now it's there in a natural way. Actually, it's hard for me to
single click.
Yeah, to have a clean voice, because it's there. You know, I think that's the same that happened to, you know, Joe Cocker or Rod Stewart, or you know, you start to sing, you have your voice is a bit brighter, and you still have have some grit there when you push it, but then eventually it gets more and more rough. So the only danger is that the voice will not be too gritty, you know, so that you will struggle with singing the melodies. So, but that's more about taking care of your health, I think, and the way you live. You know, and of course stay away from alcohol and drugs, you know, or like moderate use. So I mean, I think you'll be fine, and if and you know, not do like 10 shows in a row if your voice is strained, you know, because then you're gonna lose it before you're retired, you know, in this business. You're gonna retire.
You'll retire early.
Yeah. So well, that's basically. I never did really anything, and of course it gets worn with age. You know, you sing a lot, but at the same time it contributes to give you a certain character. The work you laid down wears you out, but it also adds some character to your vocals.
I would say so, yeah.
And that also opens up new doors for me as a singer, because I realize I can sing stuff that's, you know, I wouldn't be able to sing well when I was younger. You know, there might be a certain song or certain melodies or a style of music that that you know that, well, probably I could sing that with that certain raspy sound, and it would be really, really cool. And you don't have to sing. Now I sing pretty hard when I sing with the like this band or project. So I have to push a lot, and it's more like powerful, like a tenor with this raspy thing coming. So it's very difficult to sing in a way, but
it's I've tried. It's difficult.
So, but at the same time, it's you know. But then you also realize that, okay, I can do this, but if I use my voice in a more dynamic way, not singing that hard, for example, I could, you know, use the same sound in other styles of music and add something cool, you know, to the sound. And I think I couldn't do that before, so not in the same way. So, for example, singing blues is you know, I like blues, and I grew up with you know, like Paul Rodgers and this kind of, you know, like this white blues rock kind of thing that came with Free and Zeppelin and those bands. So, but you know, it's to sing the real classic blues. That's something that, you know, if you're not a true blues man, then it's not easy to be convincing. So, but I think now today I could do that pretty well, and in a natural way, you know, because this raspy sound will also add some manhood.
It does. It does. Yeah. How do you usually go about writing like vocal lines and lyrics for songs, especially since you're like have a lot of different projects, right? Some of them are pretty different from others.
Well, if I write my own lyrics and my own melodies, then I usually, you know, when I think about lyrics, I usually write about existential stuff, you know, reflecting on, you know, past, present, you know, my own life, and thoughts about the future. I just try to put that into the song, and also it becomes honest, you know, and identifiable, so people can really relate to it. People that like songs with content and songs that you have to kind of paint pictures when you listen to. I think that's what I do, and that makes it easier. And then you don't have any. It's not the same limits. Doesn't put a limit to what you do, because you know you're talking about honest things.
Yeah, things you're familiar with.
Yeah, and you have a lot of pictures you can paint. You know, with that, it's not necessarily abstract or experimental. It's just that when you talk about life and death and what you see around you in the world, and then you just put words on it, and then the words that come out strong to you, you just put it there, and of course you think about the phrasings, how you if it fits with the melody or not, if it's strong, if you know that, oh wow, this is so strong. I mean, not necessarily doesn't necessarily have to be the best lyric.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be like brilliant written.
Yeah.
It's just that it has to make a statement, and it's the power of the statement combined with the melody that makes it strong. And that's how I think when I write. And well, it's natural. I think most people that really have a talent usually write in the same sense, regardless of style. I mean, the most simple lyric can come out, as unique and brilliant with the right melody. Yeah. And the right expression. So, yeah, that's what I do. And but I also sometimes just do minor adjustments to other people's stuff. I might get the lyric or get parts or like a demo melody sent to me. And it's like, this is what we wrote, and I might do a few changes, and I'll just sing it because I think it's good. So yeah, I'm usually open. And sometimes I don't want to sing certain things that I feel that I can't represent or
represent well maybe, or
and like what the lyric says and stuff like that. So well. Yeah, I just add what I think is necessary and do it. So it just feels natural. Yeah. So yeah. Cool.
So this is actually a question about an album that you did last year with the Dracula album with Trod.
Yeah.
That was hands down my favorite album last year.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's still, the entire album is still on repeat to this day.
It's good. Thanks, man. Well, it's a good record.
I loved it a lot.
It's a good record. It took a lot of time and effort. It
must have. Like, listening to it, every time I listen to it, I kind of discover something new, and I'm imagine how did they go through trying to do this all, put this all together.
I mean, actually from the beginning it was Trond's idea to do this album, but then it was not based around Dracula. Then it was just he had some demos, and he had this idea to make a rock opera concept with or about vampires. And I think the original story was about this band that traveled the world, but the band was like vampires.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's kind of cool.
And they would pick their victims and stuff.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Because then it would be difficult to detect. They could so they they would use that rock band thing and the tour as a.
That's actually a really cool idea.
So it was pretty cool. But the thing is, and they would pick their victims in every country, and then they would go to the next country, and it would be very difficult to find out these people just disappearing. And it's like, what happened? Oh, they all went to that concert.
Interesting.
So so you could spin off with that thought. You could put the detective in there, and he was investigating and.
You guys decided to go a different route.
Yeah, you could do. So it was a good idea, but when he presented the idea to me, and he had done some music, and he sent it to me. I just felt that we had all these Buffy Vampire Slayer. We had the Twilight series, all these modern. Films
it's a lot of vampires.
About vampires, and all these James Dean type of guys with teeth, and that kind of teenager thing was a bit used. It was
I agree.
I just thought so are we gonna now in 2015 are we gonna release this now. To me, that was kind of like 10 years too late or something.
I agree.
So I just thought nobody really did anything with the classic story for quite some time.
That's true. Huh?
And I thought it's more original now to dig into the old Bram Stoker story and look at Dracula. And so that's why I told him that if I try to write some stuff for this record, I would like to try and do it based on Bram Stoker's book, and we could just call it Dracula. And then one of the songs he had an idea for was called Swing of Death.
Yeah,
already
I love that song.
that he had the idea for that, because so that's why it became like Dracula Swing of Death as a under title. And so that's what I did. I spent some time like a year or so at home every now and then, because we just did this more like a side project, really, because it was so time consuming and so much work that and it needed to be good, because when you do something like this, unless it's just going to be something that people just forget and oh, what's that, well, and then you just put it away, and then I wanted it to be strong, and also he wanted it to be brilliant, so and we knew we had something special there, and I think it was just a combo between me and him doing this together. You got that element you mentioned before, the Devil's Hall of Fame by Beyond Twilight. So it's kind of the same thing. I came into the picture and did my thing, worked with him, and the music and the vocals there and the concept it was just perfect, to a perfect match. And we felt that already when we from the beginning. So well, the record is probably some of my better albums, or one of my better albums. It's one
of my favorite. I mean, I have a lot of favorites from that you've been on, but yeah.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot. Well, I just do what I do and try to do what I like. I've done some records which I've been struggling with because I said yes to do them, and maybe I would make good money from the record, or I would do a package deal with a record company. They would accept to do my album. And I would get I would make
we'll do your album if you do this.
And I would make the money I needed to make it happen, but then I also have to do something else for a lower fee, so, and that kind of thing which you don't want, you really don't want to compromise, but that's how the world has developed. We are living in a time now that you have to just find your way, like navigate through it all, and as long as you get to do what's important to you, you sometimes have to do things that you don't feel 100% committed to, you don't burn for in the same way. So, and I've done that with some records in my time, but regardless, I always tried to see it as a challenge. Okay, I don't feel that strongly about doing this record, but I'm gonna take the challenge and I'm gonna try to make this really good. So then I still try to sing like hell, and and write stuff or co-write and try and make it as good as possible for the time I had to on it, and the time I actually could afford to spend on it. That's another story, but it's important to think positive in a way, and not this world is especially the music, the metal scene, and people say that the metal community is so strong and is so it's like a big family, which in some ways are true, but it's a very, very political scene. you know, the political correctness is hanging there like a big cloud. So many trolls out there that want to take you down, if you know, and it's actually extreme in the metal scene.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in the metal scene. Yeah.
And you would think that it's bad in like the pop scene and stuff, but that's usually those major artists that you know, the teenagers like Justin Bieber like, and they go off and they have fights and they discuss and they you know, there's a lot of shit going on on the internet and stuff. But it's kind of like a big problem, I think, in the metal scene. It's more limited than people think. You know, this kind of and people are controlled by it. You know, bands think about it. They don't want to do the like.
Oh, we can't do this.
We can't. We want to do this, but we can't do this. Oh, we can't do that song. Oh, that we can't do. You know, that's going to be the wrong style. I think it's getting to the point where it's more fabricated than it has to be. And that's also why the quality of the songs are dropping in the metal scene. You might say that this is a great sounding record, or this is you know, it's orchestrated well, or you know, a good melody or whatever, great player, or but if you think about it, how many times today do you like experience a band that you can actually enjoy the guitarist and the drummer and the bass player and the singer, and really notice the qualities in each individual musician? How often do you do that? Like, I mean, how many times do you find like a John Bonham or a Cozy Powell, or a, I mean, even some of the guys today too, like Vinny Appice, for example, great drummer. You know, it has nothing to do with the technical skills, or, you know, or abilities. It's just something with the sound. Same with the guitarists. You have like Gus G, who is one of the few ones that still has that kind of classic guitar hero element in his playing. You know, and I can tell when people write about him. I see so many like stupid comments and bad comments, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Are you aware of? Are you aware of the talent of this guy?
They probably have no idea.
You know, really know how good he is. You know,
they probably don't.
He's also an old friend of mine, so I mean.
No, nice. I didn't know you knew each other.
Yeah, we know each other pretty well. So
nice.
He's such a good guitar player. And Sasha.
Where's the movie?
Herbie?
We're making a movie.
Making a movie. Yeah.
You're in the movie.
You're in the movie. Yeah. No,
it'll happen one day.
Yeah, you never know. Who knows? I'll say it again. Gus G is probably one of the greatest guitar players of today, and he's really, really unique and talented. And you know, I don't know many who can play, you know, classic, heavy rock.
Quite like that.
Like him, no, and that's his style is rooted in the classic style of playing. I think it helped a lot when he played with Ozzy, because then he, you know, kind of you know, you were kind of forced to play songs that Randy Rhoads used to play, or Zakk Wylde and stuff. So I think that kind of also gave him the last quality as a player. You know, and I think he's one of the greatest today, and of course some of the older ones that's been around for a while. I'm Doug Aldridge also was a great player. And now, I saw Vivian Campbell coming back, working with some of his old bandmates, and J.K. Lee has been playing some shows. I know last few years with some solo project. Yeah. So I mean, all these people, I think, have that unique style. It's, you know, and I mean, how many of those do you find these days in a band, for example? It's actually a shame that most of these people are like playing with so many different musicians now. It's all like a mix of random musicians instead of picking the right constellation or group of people and putting them together to have this great band, you know. You saw that much more often in the 70s and in the 80s. So, but you know, it's development. You know, this is, you know, my reference is based on my generation and,
of course,
and where I come from. So, you know, I can't say that this is the recipe. This is how it has to be.
Of course, yeah.
It's just a personal opinion that that way of playing and like talking with your instrument, speaking through your instrument. It's also linked, I think, to how you grew up. When I grew up, I used to, you know, run around the woods, and I mean, I was playing with a knife when I was 5 years old, and my mother or grandmother, nobody, and grandfather, nobody really cared.
Let's play with a knife.
That was normal. You know, you're 5 years and you run around with this big knife and you cut yourself, and you know, you learn how to respect it in a way. And you know, we were crossing rivers and streams. You know, when the spring flow came, and you know, we were nobody. You know, it's like, oh, it's supper. I grew up partly in a small village and also on a farm on my mother's side. So it's kind of like, you know, they would shout across the fields.
Wow.
You know, Jorn, supper.
Wow.
You know, and you could hear the echo through the woods. You know,
Is that how you?
And me and my friends, we would, you know, be somewhere. Either we would, we you know, we were getting bruises and falling in the creek or whatever, you know. So, and we would, you know, we would force rivers, you know. And we would get, you know, feet would get swept away. We would, you know, it could have been really bad, you know. It could have but usually it, you know, went well, you know. And in the end, we were sitting at the dinner table and eating, and you know, there's all these, you know, these kids, and it's kind of a new time now. So I think if you look at the time we grew up, and also like fishing with and hunting with my grandparents, always going to the cottage in the mountains, you know, stuff like this, picking berries, whatever. It's kind of like it sounds like a romantic old movie, you know what I mean? But I think that helped us to kind of become who we are today. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah,
you know, and it also makes it more authentic when you channel a message and when you try to tell a story, because you have some reference points in your life. On you know, you know how it feels to drive that car in you know, 150 miles an hour. You know what I mean? It's not like you play the video game and you just you know, and then you write a song about it. So you know, it becomes more authentic. You know, when you know how to swing the axe and, you know, chop up the wood, you know.
For sure.
And it's easier to channel things and make it more expressive, and that's I think why some of the musicians of my generation and the older ones have that ability to,
Nice. Do you? Gear gods,
Gear gods. Don't forget your gear.
Or the gods will be angry.
Gods will take them.
Do you do any Skype lessons or anything like that? Vocal lessons or?
Well, no, I don't. I don't have time really to do it.
It doesn't seem like it.
Oh, I wish I would have more time, but there's always things, you know, like stuff to do. If it's not the music, it's, you know, I'm working on
just
my
life,
house or private life stuff. You know, going to the dumpster with a trailer full of you know, garden waste or junk or whatever. You know, I do a lot of those things myself, and I you know, it's a great.
What do you?
I love to do it, basically.
What would you recommend to someone who maybe like wants to follow in like your footsteps in terms of like want to sing something similar to you, or how can a vocalist starting out, you know, what do you recommend?
Well, I think you know, it's so difficult to make a living from this today that It's it's you just have to kind of try to be. You have to have a certain drive.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be hungry for some kind of career, or and I think that drive is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many kids now that are talented, but they don't have the interest or that hunger.
Yeah.
And if you have that drive, then it's more about not giving up, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just being convinced that
you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, and then it's gonna evolve from there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no recipe that nothing's hammered in stone, really. Just have to follow your own intuition, but you have to work hard to get things done, because everything is linked to getting things done. Because when you got something done, and you've been there, done that, then you know what you're gonna do next.
Yeah.
Then you can move on.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had some kind of plan and a lot of things I wanted to do. Sometimes I wanted to do too many things.
Yeah.
So I had to be, I had to strip down, be more selective. But I think that's what life's all about. If you feel that you have some kind of unfinished business, you have to make sure it happens. Or if you can't make everything happen, you have to make some of it happen, and then you adjust what's the most important thing, and go for it. And then when you get to that point, then you make new plans again.
Yeah.
You can put that stuff behind you, and I think that I think that's the most essential thing. I can't really give any advice for like how to be a good singer or anything. I mean, it's only one thing that's I can say is that the drugs will never the drugs will never help you, or the alcohol will never help you become a good singer, or you won't be a rock star. So it's only hard work and to be determined. That's and of course be honest to yourself, and it's like the market is one thing. If you like something that people say is outdated, then don't listen to them. Then just do it, but maybe add some elements that make it more adaptable for what's happening today. Because nothing's really outdated. You can always tweak things a bit, and still you do something you really enjoy. So if it means that you have to adjust some things to get that tour, or to get that record deal, or whatever, it's but these things you will know. Because if you have a talent, you will know exactly what you feel. And what you feel, many people will also feel. So as long as you follow that, then you're on the right track with doing what you do. So that's how I think. As long as if I cry when I listen to what I've done, and that my hairs start to rise from what I did, and I said, then I know that there are many people that's gonna feel the same.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter what other people say.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Then you know, because we're all people, right? And we all have the same thing we feel. So that's my only tip. Yeah.
That's a great one.
I didn't, do that many like shows in America. I did a few when a couple, like I said before, a couple of tours and stuff. But it's good. It's good for me, and it's also what I do. It's my job.
Yeah.
And so I'm just happy to be here with you guys.
We are happy to be here with you. So I hope it's not the last time that you come and we get to see you and everything.
No, we'll see each other again.
Yeah,
for sure.
that'd be nice. All right, let me ask one more question from a reader. This one is more like, it's about when you're in the studio. When you're in the studio, how do you like to have your vocal monitoring? Low music, loud voice, opposite? Do you like having like compressor and reverb and stuff like that on your voice? Or?
Yeah, I like to keep it dry, the vocals, just because I'm picky with everything, the tuning. Or I don't like to auto-tune, stuff. Or sometimes you can auto-tune a little word or something, but it's like if half of the sentence I sing is like under or over, and a bit out of tune, then you don't hear it if you have a lot of room on the vocals or delays on it. Then you later, when you start to work on it, then you discover that this is. Then you have to spend more time on tuning it or replacing it and or whatever you do. So I prefer to sing with the dry sound, direct, and so I don't like to get help. So I don't want any help from the sound or from effects or anything. I want my voice to be the strong character, and then we can add things later if we feel it's necessary. So, but of course, I love later to put on some echoes or delays. So because you make it,
makes everything sound much nicer.
Yeah, and for my headphones and stuff, I usually play it too loud. That's just because you want to get the same feeling as when you're on stage. You want to rock out, but not all the songs, depending on the song. Of course, most of the music I've done, it's pretty like heavy or it's rocking. So you have to rock out when you do it, and so you stand there, you give everything, and you sweat, and
of course.
It's. So I mean, you need to play it pretty loud, and it's also the only way to get that feeling, and to get the right performance. I think. Also, it's like feeling good, and authentic when you do it. The second you lower the volume too much, it's also a problem with the resonance of my own voice. I hear my own voice in here.
That's true,
I can because and I sing pretty loud, so most of the time. So I like that. I also like that I have to push to get through, because when I play live, now I also use in-ear system, so now it's a bit different. But all the years before, I used monitors, the old school way. And on stage, I always like to hear myself less, in a way. I mean, I don't like to have a loud monitoring. I don't like it to be that I can sing weak and then I have a loud voice coming from the monitor. I like it when I have to strive a bit to cut through the band, and that's also the same situation I'm trying to achieve in the studio. So that's why I play it loud, and then I have to go for it to actually get the right expression and to come through. And
that makes sense.
So you kind of recreate some of that live experience. So that's that also makes it more enjoyable when you sing it, and that you might get away with a few takes and not do it over and over and over again. Because then you get into that mood right away.
If you're feeling a little adventurous, I've got several more power chord shapes that you could try. So I like to call this one the 5th on the bottom power chord. And all you do is you take your classic shape that we just learned, and you take your first finger and move it down a string, and then you play all 3 strings like this. So all we did was take that 5th and move it down an octave and add that note to the power chord, giving us 3 notes. As with all of these shapes, you can move it up and down the neck, no problem.